everyone. I'm totally excited to be back here and recording this video. So today I decided to go outside and get some sun, and as you can see, there's a little bit of sweat left on my shirt. So just being really raw and vulnerable with you guys. Try not to be so perfect. So today's topic is going to be about holding space by listening. And my friends had this event this past Friday, and I was kind of hosting and asking questions, and it was about just feeling the emotion of anger and being able to hold space for someone. And my friend asked me, where did I start, or where was I able to learn how to hold space? And my answer was by listening. So before I go into that, if you don't know what holding space is, for me, like my definition, it could be different for other people, but it's just being able to be in the present moment with that other person in front of you, and really being in that moment, being able to listen to whatever they're saying, love them without judgments, without having to voice your opinion, but just love them for who they are and just be in that space with them. So that's what holding space means to me. And I really wanted to talk about this topic of listening because I find it a really cool topic, at least for me. Once I heard a TED Talk on listening, and I don't remember which one it is, but I'll try to look for it and link it. But if not, if I heard this TED Talk about listening, and it just really inspired me to really practice listening more. And I might get a little bit passionate about the art of listening, but that's because I really enjoy it and I really like explaining it to people and sharing like my perspective on it. So the art of listening. Really, before I get into like details or techniques, and I might be out of order and stuff, I really want to ask you, or really myself too, what it feels like to listen. And have you ever realized when someone is talking to you that you might space out and think about something that just happened at work, or thinking about like a bill that you have to pay? Well, it's happened to me, and I don't want to assume, but I'm sure it's happened to plenty of people, where someone's just talking and you just kind of go off, and then you come back and you kind of miss 30 seconds or a minute of what they were saying, and you're just like nodding your head like, yeah, even though you really weren't present or listening. So what I practice first is being in the moment with them as much as possible, and just bringing yourself back to that space and not having judgments about yourself because you kind of veered off in thoughts. And if it feels good for you, maybe just asking them, hey, do you mind repeating that last minute? I kind of dozed off. And being honest, because I feel like a lot of us do it, and I don't want to assume, because I know I did it a lot. But yeah, just trying to be as present as possible and practicing that, actively practicing that in conversations. And yeah, you might doze off here and there again, but again, it's a practice. I'm not perfect at it either. So another thing that I want to present to you about listening is, how many times have you, or have I, already was thinking of what to say next because of something like they said? The person might have said a sentence or was talking about a topic, and I was already thinking what I wanted to answer to that. So not letting the other person in a way vent and already thinking about yourself, what you want to say, it's like, oh, like now you want to vent, but you are kind of taking that space, or I'm taking that space from you. So let's say whoever is hearing this, we're having a conversation and, you've just kind of told me whatever you wanted to say and to let it out. And then I come out with like an answer and you just wanted to be heard instead of hearing what I had to say. So another thing is like myself relating to whatever they're just talking about. So for instance, someone tells me about their day at the beach. Then I'm like, yeah, you know what? I went to the beach yesterday and I know what you mean. I was on the ocean and I was on the sand, and the other person's like, all right, cool. Let me speak for myself. It's happened to me when I just talked about the beach day and the other person relates to it. I'm just like, cool, nice story, but I just wanted to talk about my story this moment. So just trying to really listen to what they have to say. And a way that I try not to relate is either by staying silent for a little bit and just letting them think about what they just said, or by asking a question to better understand their story or whatever they're explaining. So for instance, let's say they're talking about their beach day. Cool, awesome. So what did you learn when you went to the beach? Or, what did you see? What did you experience? How did you feel being at the beach? And it gets them thinking as well. And it's also helping you being in that moment and helping them, in a way, hold space for themselves. You don't have to be the only one holding space for them, but it's like you asking a question and they kind of go into their thoughts and they're like, oh, I didn't realize the beach was so nice, and whatever comes up. I really hope this makes sense, but I just felt called to share this stuff with you. Another way to become a better listener is to become aware if you're becoming, how do I word this? If you're trying to give advice. So for instance, someone tells you about their beach day, and you come in with you should have brought a towel, or you should have brought a book. You need to dip your toes in the water, or you have to go and get some sun. Sometimes the other person doesn't really want the should, need to, have to, the advice. They just want to be heard. And in that, you just be like, oh, cool, that sounds like an awesome, beautiful beach day that you had. And another thing that I've realized for myself too, when I wasn't such a good listener, was becoming defensive. Someone would tell me their beliefs or their thoughts, like, man, the beach is the best place to go. And I'd be like, no, you don't know. Like, the park is the best place to go. Like, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, you need to go to the park. It's awesome. And just defending what I believe in instead of saying, cool, that's awesome. Your beach day sounds like my park day. Like, oh, cool. And maybe they get to understand you, like, oh, that's how the park day feels for you. It's like my beach day. I know this is kind of silly, but it's not silly. It's a cool explanation to hopefully make sense to you. But anyways, so yeah, listening is a huge thing that we haven't really been taught to do. So holding space by listening, it's really just being in the present moment with the other person as much as possible. Just breathing and okay. Like really looking them in the eye, or seeing like their body language when they speak, their energy about what they're saying. That's one. Second is just by, being quiet, not having to like say anything in return. just, 10 seconds of silence. It might feel uncomfortable at first, but kind of just like nodding your head, and then sometimes they still have more to talk about and they didn't even realize it. Another thing is asking questions. Asking questions for me, like I had to learn how to ask questions too. But just something simple, like trying to learn more about whatever topic it is. Like, hey, can you tell me a little bit more about what you said about this certain part? Or, like that experience, like what did you learn from it? How does it make you feel? And then, what was the other ones? Oh, yeah. Really not having to have a response, whether that's relating to whatever they're saying, whether that's trying to like give advice, like you have to do this, or hey, did you think about that? Or just being defensive, like thinking like their belief or their story doesn't validate them, or you believe like something else is true. Listening is an interesting one for sure, and it's still very interesting for me. A lot of people say that I'm a great listener, and sometimes I'm honest with people. I'm like, I can't listen to you right now, or I can do it with certain people, not everyone, but for instance, my twin flame, Joey, sometimes he'll just talk and talk and talk, and I'm not fully present, and I'm honest with him. I'm like, I really can't hold space anymore for you, and I know you're really passionate about it, so maybe later on, but like I'm losing the energy and the enthusiasm to really listen to you and ask you questions. And that's like another fun piece too, and I'll probably make a video someday about that, just being honest and vulnerable. But yeah, I appreciate the space. I don't know if you guys notice too, sometimes I'll be quiet and I'll listen to my own thoughts, and at first I used to judge myself for like pausing too much on videos, but it's like I'm practicing holding my own space too, because I have a relationship with myself too. I talk to myself, I write, and like that's me talking to me and being able to listen to whatever's coming up too. So I guess that's another practice, like listening to yourself. That's a huge one. Listening to your heart and how it feels. Not really your mind, your mind it's a beautiful thing and it's part of you, but tuning into your heart and listening how you feel, what you want to be heard about. So hopefully this was a helpful video. I appreciate you all so much. Thank you for being here. I always get emotional just being able to express myself and be vulnerable, and yeah, thank you so much. I love you. I'm excited to record even more videos. You're awesome, you're beautiful, I love you. Have a beautiful day, and may you be heard. May you be loved.